Hi, this is certified health coach Susan Zartman. You know what? I have superpowers. They may be ordinary superpowers, but they're for the good of mankind, helping you get healthy. Sometimes that means losing weight. Sometimes that means learning healthy habits like drinking water and getting sleep and eating every 2 to 3 hours a day. What's your superpower? Are you good at encouraging others? Are you good at making people feel welcome and hospitality? There's all kinds of ways we can impact others. And anyway, one of the best things you're doing for yourself right now is taking care of yourself, because unless we become the best that we can be, we'll be a little bit handicapped in what we can do. It's kind of our being out of shape and unhealthy is a little bit like kryptonite, and it'll make us weak, but we want to be strong. So anyway, you ready to dive in? It's time for chapter 12, and this is part 2. I'm talking about phase 2. For most people, phase 1 is the process of losing weight and getting to a healthy weight. And along the way, we've been learning habits of health that will allow us to maintain that weight loss and keep getting better all the time too, which that's part of the goal. Most weight loss systems or diets, the D word, and once you lose the weight, which that is a recipe for yo-yoing and weight regain. Anybody else been there? I have more times than I can count. But in our plan, reaching your healthy weight in phase 1 is just the beginning of your journey to optimal health. So anyway, our goal during phase 2, which for some of you, this is ahead of where you are, but it's always good to learn and be mentally prepared, because that day is going to come where you're going to transition and you're going to be there and maintaining this for the rest of your healthy life. And so the first thing is to solidify the first steps. And so we're going to keep carrying on here. And this starts like on page about 146. And we're really just trying to shift our focus. So by both increasing your caloric intake and your caloric expenditure, going to help you reach an equilibrium. So once you're at that place where you are about your optimal weight, then we slowly start adding things in and try and help you get a balance so that what you're eating, those calories you're taking in, and your healthy movement, the calories you're expending, sort of balance so that your weight's not going up and down constantly. Yeah, it'll change here and there, but it won't be like you wake up one day and you go, dang, how did I put 80 pounds on? I've been there too. And it's like I've lost all this weight, and all of a sudden, how did it come back on? I went brain dead. So we want to be mindful, and we want to help you be at a state where you're able to maintain your weight most efficiently. And let's see, I've got some pictures to share with you. So let me, too many little screens going here. Hang on a second. Almost there. Pop up, where are you? Okay, boom, we're going to share the screen. And anyway, here we go. So this is showing all about energy management, and the red line is shows the calories in. So that's the food that you're eating, and the energy out is represented by the green light, and your body mass index is represented by the white line. So basically, in your before section there, the calories that you were taking in most likely were way higher than those that you were expending. So that's why you saw weight gain, because you were taking in more than you got rid of. And your BMI tended to be a little bit higher. Then when we've been going through our optimal 5 and 1, and you've been in a state of fat burn and feeling good and melting like snowman, then down you can see that your consumption now is below that green expenditure line. And so when you're taking in less than what you're expending, it starts eating off of your fat and using that as your energy source. And so that's when you've been losing the weight. And now in phase 2, we're slowly wanting to find that balance there. So we're going to be kind of ramping up what you're eating, but also balancing it so that the two meet with what you're going to be expending. So that's what we're talking about tonight. Basically, it puts you at a real stable BMI, and that is what we want to do. And basically, as you add healthy muscle, your BMI may even slightly rise, and that's normal, so that's all good. And when you get to this point, your palate has been cleansed of processed food with its excess salt, fat, and high fructose corn syrup. It's the perfect time to solidify the healthy eating habits that you learned in phase one. During this time, we'll expand your food intake. We want to make sure that these new habits have become automatic. If not, you're going to be susceptible to calorie creep, an insidious increase in your daily intake. Unfortunately, our nutritionally polluted world makes it really easy to slip up. That's why it's all the more important to stay mindful and to lock in the habits of health through tools such as Dr. A's healthy eating strategies and the conveniently formulated, portion-controlled fuelings. Those really are a major tool. They help you lose weight, but they can also help you keep it off and to regulate your weight really for the rest of your life. And so right now you're experiencing a creative, exciting, satisfied period of generative growth, on top of which you're about to add more variety to your meals. But this time of transition is also the period when most people who have lost weight, they fail. And it's true. It's like I said, how many diets have you been through? How many times have you lost weight and it's come back on, and even more? And that's what makes it so hard. So anyway, we're going to start chapter 12, and that's on page 149. And by reaching a healthy weight, that is the first big milestone. You've had lots of little milestones along the way. For some of you, that was, you hit 20 pounds off. Some of you hit the 50-pound mark. Some of you have hit the 100-pound mark. Some of you getting into the 100s and getting into Wonderland has been a major milestone. And all those things are wonderful. But now our goal at this point in our stages will be at a healthy weight. And that means you're ready to transition. And you start by expanding and developing an eating plan that you use during phase one to create a strategy for life. And he's kind of talks about the 6 different habits. When you're updating your order, we call it the Be Slim orders. You're part of the Be Slim Club. Did you know that Be Slim is actually an acronym for the 6 healthy areas for maintaining a healthy weight? It is. B is for breakfast. E is for exercise. S is for support. L is for low-fat meals every 3 hours. I is an individual plan. And M is monitor. So we're going to go and look at each of those a little bit. Breakfast. Yep, that's the first meal of the day. You're breaking the fast that you've had overnight. And we encourage you to get that in, if you can, in the first 30 minutes after you wake up. And if not now, so if you can do it by the first 60 minutes, unless you're taking thyroid medicine and you need to wait that hour, totally fine. But you want to get it going, because that's kind of what kind of gets your fire and your metabolism going. Second area is exercise. And as your weight has decreased, perhaps you've started adding some more activity, using the stairs instead of the elevator, or perhaps taking the dog for a walk. Anyway, if you've been in phase one for a while, you may have started learning Dr. A's movement systems for sustainable exercise. And we're going to be going over those in the next few weeks. So you haven't started, no problem. We'll get you going there. Whatever your current level of physical activity is, we're going to get you an easy entrance. Because obviously, when you weigh a lot, I started over 300 pounds. Not really safe. You can really hurt yourself if you're not careful, and you don't want to have that problem. And really, what we've studied in some of these previous chapters too, that exercise plays a very small, minor role in actually losing weight, but it's essential for health and for maintaining your weight. So anyway, increasing your activity level becomes more and more important as you move from phase one into phase two and beyond. It's like a superhero thing, and beyond. And then basically after the first 3 weeks in phase one, your body's ready for increased movement. You're lighter, you have more confidence, you're physically healthier, and you have the right motivation. Plus, you're starting to be in command of those habits of health. And then the S in the Be Slim is support. And of course, there are so many ways that support. You've got your free health coach. I'm here, I want to help you. I'll put on my Super Care mask and do anything I can. And we've got our community health. So if you're on Facebook, you're in our secret Facebook group. The habits of health calls, nutrition support, friends, family, all kinds of ways to get support. I'm tickle in my throat. Sorry about that. And then L is for low-fat meals every 3 hours. You've been on our plane for a while, you're doing that with our 6 different little meals a day. And that's a very powerful habit of health. That's not just for the weight loss. That is a lifelong habit, helping balance your blood sugars and decrease inflammation. And that's going to be essential for helping to keep your weight off. And then I is for an individual plan. Now that you're past that initial weight loss stage, you'll be ready to build a permanent plan that gives you control over your energy intake and long-term strategies for life. M is for monitor. We need to be mindful. You know, it's always something, not that we're always obsessing and thinking about every little thing that we eat or do, but we need to know where we are. I know I would end a diet and I wouldn't get on the scale. I didn't want to know. And somehow I was brain dead. That's how I could wake up and all of a sudden be up 60 or 80 pounds because I didn't know. But we stay conscious with that. And so we can keep control of it. If you don't know where you are, you don't know where you're going or where you need to be. And those are important. And for those of you that got my email, I said that when I first read this, one of my big aha moments came in this chapter. On page 151, and he's talking about why there are 2 main reasons why most diets fail when used without other supports. One is a lack of energy balance and a lack of understanding of proper motivation. So energy balance, this is the thing that was like, oh, that's why it comes on so quick. Basically, the fat cells in your body use energy. When you lose weight, you decrease your metabolic demands, and the amount of energy your fat cells uses decreases significantly as well. So, hey, when I weighed 300 pounds and just walked up the block, I was burning a whole lot more calories than I do at 137 pounds less. So that's where it makes a big difference that, you know, my body's different now. Everything's different. If you simply go back to your old pre-diet eating habits, as dieters often do, your energy needs will be out of balance, and your new, lighter body will be taking in more energy that it can use. And as a result, your weight can balloon. It's the classic yo-yo pattern caused by an ever-widening gap between energy in and energy out. Even worse are the unbalanced diets that lower calories so severely your body is forced to cannibalize its own muscle, or diets that are used to fabricate weight loss by manipulating macronutrients such as fats and carbs. That's why everything we're doing is in balance. Everything is in balance for what your body needs. Diets like those are really hard to sustain, and your body isn't shy about letting you know it has a macronutrient deficit. And soon, when you get a deficit, those cravings will begin. And even if you manage to stay with one of those diets long enough to lose some weight, once the diet's over, it's off to the races to replenish that deficit. That's why a low-carb diet has no chance of long-term success. After all, nature knows best. So anyway, using those meal replacements, that's one of the great things about it because they are balanced and they're so simple because you don't have to think about it. And so talking about on 151, just monitoring your weight and your measurements regularly. So regularly monitoring your weight and this is also the waist to hip ratio. It's an important surveillance tool and provides an accurate picture of your current reality. I guess it doesn't actually say ratio. I just kind of have ratio in there, but whatever your waist and hip measurements are, it makes a difference. So you want to set up a regular time for weighing and measuring. Dr. A thinks that once a week is probably the most reliable schedule for tracking a trend, but if daily is better for you, that's fine. You want to weigh and measure yourself in as little clothing as possible. Weigh and measure yourself on the same scale and at the same time of the day. Most people are at their lowest weight first thing in the morning. Use Dr. A's favorite technique to check inches and weight. Monitor yourself regularly by trying on a favorite pair of jeans or whatever pants whose proper fit you know well. If you have to get on the bed and hold your stomach in, you know you're putting on weight and you need to adjust your calorie intake accordingly. So anyway, that's the first part there. And then The second key is proper motivation. Many people go on a diet with the sole purpose of losing pounds. So when their weight loss goal is reached, they think they're done. And they're glad because their diet has been a period of great deprivation. And they can't wait to get back to their old way of life. But with our plan, reaching a healthy weight is just the first step on your path. Your underlying motivation is inspired by your fundamental choice, the choice of optimal health that you adopted during our preparation for this journey. Remember when you first talked, we want to find out, what is it that you wanted? How did you want to feel? How did you want to look? And those things can change along the way, and they may still be totally the same. Some people want to be able to get down on the floor to play with their grandkids. Some people want to be able to sit in a roller coaster and take a ride. Other people want to be able to climb steps, or be able to go travel and or walk freely, and want to not have the legs hurting so bad. They want to feel good and be active. And some people, their motivation, they want to get off some of the medication. So getting healthy is that bottom line. And you should also have the Living a Longer, Healthier Life Companion Guide Workbook by Dr. A. In there are a number of exercises that focus on motivation and choice. This would be a really good time to pull those out and work through those. Ask yourself those questions. It's a self-motivated, self-driven book. So it's really good. Your current reality? Well, hey, you've made it to starting phase 2. You're at your healthy weight, and you're equipped with habits that will serve you well for the rest of your life. So congratulations for being on these calls and working on changing the way you think and understanding how all this works. That life that you've created and you're creating may indeed be longer and of a higher quality. Who wants to live to be 100 and feel crappy or not be sharp? If you're going to live longer, let's be healthy and make the most of it. Value every day. And then as a result, you've gone from being an overweight, fat storing state to a healthy fat burning state. So again, you've gone from fat storing to fat burning. So now we want to move forward by solidifying your strategies and continuing your journey toward optimal health. And I think I've got another picture here to share with you. Let's see here. So here you can see where you started out overweight and you're a fat storage state. And then after you've completed that phase 1 and getting your optimal weight, then you can say your current reality is that you're at a healthy weight. You're in a fat burning state and you're eating healthy. So now the next thing we're moving for is optimal health. And that's having a lean body. Being skinny is not the same as being lean. And that's a really important differentiation. You're living the habits of health and you are optimizing your energy. So basically, in transition, it has 2 parts. One is that you'll be adding calories until you reach your set point where your calories in is pretty much equaling your calories out. And then also introducing a full range of foods to support optimal health and maintain your healthy weight. And the next few pages, starting on 153, go into all kinds of mathematical equations and formulas. And the first one talks about your total energy expenditure, and it tells you how you'll calculate that. And he gives you all the formulas in the book, but honestly, I Googled, when I was doing, one of these things, I got some crazy numbers, and I tried to use the formulas in the book because my math skills aren't as good as they should be or once were. So hey, online, there are all kinds of easy calculators. You can look for the BMR calculator, the basal metabolic rate calculator, the thermal effect of food. That pretty much stays the same, and then the PAL. And that equals your TEE, which is your total energy expenditure. And basically, the BMR, the basic metabolic rate, is the energy that you use for your basic bodily needs. Even when your body's at rest, it's using fuel to breathe, grow, circulate your blood, adjust your hormone levels, repair cells, and perform other functions. Typically, the BMR is the largest portion of the T energy equation. Just living and being is the biggest portion of your calorie usage. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. It's pretty cool, isn't it? And that's part of that goes back to when you weigh 300 and some pounds, just sitting still, you're actually burning more calories than when you weigh 150 and you're sitting still. So anyway, that's the part where it kind of changes in there. But The basics don't change there. And then the PAL, the physical activity level, is the energy you use when you move, whether you're playing tennis, walking to the store, chasing after the dog, chasing after the kids. You've got control of this number, and you can change it quite a bit depending on the frequency, duration, and intensity of your actions. Then the third thing is the thermic effect of food, the TEF. It's the energy your body uses to process your food. So digestion, absorption, transportation, and storing food, those all take energy. And that's about 10% of the calories that you use each day. And that number stays pretty steadily. So anyway, you can see below in this chart that I'm showing here how that 60 to 75% is that basal metabolic rate. And see that how it all breaks down. So anyway, we're not going to go into deep detail of that, but you can check those out. And then when you're getting to that point, definitely something to check. One of Dr. A's habits of health tips on 157, he said, turn off the TV during meals. Studies show that watching TV during meals increases the likelihood that you'll overeat. I think that might have something to do with mindfulness. You know what? That's why you want to enjoy each bite and be thinking about it. That was my old habit. I'd come home and flip on the TV and get food and sit down and eat and keep going back to the kitchen, which is just like right a couple steps away. So anyway, he goes into more details and shows how adding the different foods will go in some different plans. So it's a great resource for the book there. And pretty much when he's adding the calories, he's doing it earlier in the day. He's doing maybe an extra 100 calories to lunch, extra 100 calories to a mid-morning or mid-afternoon fueling. But in his charts, he has not added calories to the evening fueling. And he said it's important to minimize the body's workload at night. It's not necessary to stop eating. So when you're eating every 2 to 3 hours, you're still continuing that. So it's not a problem if you have one of your fuelings like before you go to bed. That's not a big deal if that's part of your day's plan. But not wanting to ramp it up and eat this big old meal at dinner, which most of us, that tends to be one of the bigger meals, doesn't typically get through your system there. And he just wanted to let you know too that, hey, while you're going through this adjustment, in the first week or two, you may actually gain a couple of pounds as you readjust your salt, water, and food intake. Don't be alarmed. If this trend continues for more than a few weeks, you'll need to stop adding additional calories or cut back on the number of calories in your dinner, lunch, or breakfast in that order. So again, he said, cut back on dinner, lunch, or breakfast. So hey, he'd rather have the stuff weighted a little bit earlier in the day, or until your movement plan gets underway and you start burning more calories. And transition's a great time. You can add more high-quality proteins, nutrient-dense starches, and a full range of fruits and vegetables to your diets. Just remember to continue your healthy eating strategies, including continue using those portion-controlled fuelings. Makes it easy. Less things you have to think about, the more chances you have for success. Some of you, I love them. So, hey, why give those up? Use a 9-inch plate for all your meals. We've talked about that before. Select healthy options from all 3 major food groups. And, Dr. A's got the color-coded system there for low glycemic shopping. And those are great to use. And then also use the 100-calorie fueling choices in Chapter 10. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can use for those 100-calorie fuelings. So when you need to add the 100 calories here and there to a meal, those are great things to add. You can utilize the menus from Chapter 10 to create healthy meals. So that's a little bit later here. And including the new 400-calorie lunch you'll be building over the first 3 weeks. And again, he has a big thing. Don't forget to monitor your weight during transition. Don't forget to monitor your weight through life. Anyway, your weight may fluctuate during transition as your body gets used to the additional carbohydrates, salt, and calories. Remember to monitor your weight vigilantly and adjust your calorie intake up or down if you fluctuate by more than a few pounds from your healthy weight. If you notice that you're gaining weight, cut back on your calories a bit by recalculating your T, total energy expenditure, and adjust your intake accordingly. And, you'll be adding things from fruits and vegetables, and you really suggest having, maybe at least 4 of the 6 servings of fruits and vegetables be vegetables in a day. You want to make this heavier on vegetables and lighter on fruit still. It's fine to have a couple servings of fruit in a day when you're on that second phase. But they do have natural sugars, and even natural sugars are sugars. I've got some shopping tips there on page 163. And got some little kind of interesting things that would be good to know, to just kind of know that a cup of cooked vegetables is approximately 50 to 70 calories. And a piece of medium fruit is about 80 calories. A cup of fresh cubed fruit is also about 80 calories. And it talks about adding calories from the starch group, because your starch selections have the biggest effect on your glycemic intake. And those require special vigilance as you are completing your permanent eating plan. So low glycemic starches are a great steady source of nutrient-dense calories. And things like healthy breads are kind of interesting. Their whole grains are high in fiber, nutrient-dense, and contain vitamins and minerals. It says the good choices are actually pumpernickel, sourdough, stone ground or whole wheat, and chapatis or other Indian breads made with chickpea flour. And it talks about most commercial breakfast cereals are processed, meaning that the grains have lost their structure and are no longer intact, which makes them high glycemic and poor choices. And he lists some good choices here, and he talks about pasta and rice and things to know about that. And then adding calories from the protein group. And again, your protein selection should not come from processed or fatty foods, which not only add health-robbing saturated fats, but also really pack on the calories. And they do things like don't eat red meat more than twice a week and make sure it's lean. Eat fish at least twice a week and make sure it's fresh. Choose skinless white meat poultry. Choose low-fat or non-fat dairy. And don't forget nuts, seeds, and legumes. And we just so often have polluted our body with empty calories. And on page 165, he does a kind of an interesting breakdown. And basically, he's talking about the average male eats about 3,000 calories a day, and the average female about 2,000 calories. And about 40% of those come from refined, processed sugars and fat. But when we fill up on calorie-laden fried foods and desserts, we leave ourselves very little room for the healthy, nutrient-rich foods that our bodies need. And so it's like really just being aware of what we're eating. And you know what? We are fueling our bodies. We're building it up. And I want to keep that in mind so that what we put in our mouth and our bodies, I think we've studied before that within a year, all your cells are replaced. So you want to feed it so that, hey, as you're building these new cells, they are healthy and as strong and good as possible. It's fine to eat out, but you always want to make good choices. And remember, restaurants are in the business of making money and keeping their customers happy so they can make more money. They want you to come back and bring all your friends. And you know what? That salt and sugar, they sell really well. So anyway, he's got some tips on things to watch for, and he suggests ordering your food first and making good choices. Avoiding fast food for the most part. Most fast food restaurants don't have healthy choices. Sometimes you can find like a good salad with some grilled chicken or some hard-boiled eggs. So I'm sure you check that out, and it's tough. If you're going out to eat, check the menu first. Most of the restaurants have them posted online, so it's so easy to be able to do that, so that when you go into the restaurant, you got something in mind already and aren't just like shooting from the hip or being swayed by what people with you are doing. If the timing of your dinner reservation means you'll be exceeding your 3-hour time limit without eating, eat one of their fuelings or a low-calorie snack before you go out. That's going to help you keep your appetite in check while you wait for your table and food. And you know what? You could choose healthy cooking methods at the restaurants, but you don't really know how they prepared it. Sometimes a grilled meat sounds great, but they may be brushing it down with oil or butters. You just don't know what they're doing. Even like a marinara sauce could start off with an oil base. I never thought about that kind of stuff before. A poached item may come in a buttery liquid. Baked items often contain oil or cheese. And so some of those things, obviously stay away from cream sauces, soups, all that. And don't be afraid. Take charge of your meal. you're the customer. Customer's always right. So don't be shy to ask, for exactly what you want, and do as much as you can. You can keep in mind what a 9-inch plate looks like in those divisions. You can order 2 appetizers instead of an entree, like a soup and a dinner salad or a shrimp cocktail. Split a meal with a dining companion. And don't rely on the chef or waiter to serve you the proper amount of food. Surveys show that people generally eat everything that's put in front of them, whether they really wanted it or not. Ask for a leftovers container right when you place your order. When that meal comes, eyeball your proper portion right away and put the rest in the box to take home. And then talked again about those fuelings. They're just a great way for life to have those handy, and they serve you well. And so I know that's going to be a part of my lifestyle, as long as God keeps me healthy and doing stuff. So anyway, this is just your start of the transitioning on chapter 13. It's going to start about active living. So next week, we'll start talking a little bit about activity and learning more. And anyway, I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for joining me, for those that you have hung in there till the end. And hey, make it a super week. Figure out your superpowers. What are you doing to impact your world? Over and out. Up and away.